Alright, today we are going to be replacing the passenger side motor mount on a 2009 Denali. Basically, I'm going to take off the heat shield. This is going to be my first time doing this one, so bear with me as I try to see what's the fastest way to maneuver that out the way. I did do the driver's side, so if you do want to see that, look through my videos. But we'll go ahead and start this process. Alright, so all these bolts that are going to be on the exhaust shield, they're all going to be 10 millimeters. I think there's about 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so there's about 5 bolts on there. So we're going to remove that one, that one, that one, and then that one right there, and then there's one more down below. We're gonna remove that one too. So we'll knock that out. I'm not gonna record that part, but I will show you the tool that I'm gonna be using for it. Also, there was one more bolt that I didn't see, but you can see it through the tire well, and you'll get to that one right there. So that'll be the 6th bolt. Alright, so now that we got all the bolts off, we're going to go ahead and take off the cover. We have a little bit more access to the mount. So there's going to be 3 bolts that we're going to be taking off. It's kind of hard to see. There's going to be that one. And then there's going to be another one on the left side of that. There's going to be that one. That's one. That's the one all the way to the left. And then there's the middle one. It's kind of hard to get to the one all the way to the right, but you have the idea. So we're going to go ahead and take those off. Probably going to have to bend up the dust shield a little bit. I'll record that process though. I'm going to try to make this as an educational video as possible. So just bear with me on this video. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take off the inner wheel fender liner. So they're gonna have these fastener clips right here. Get that out of focus. So we're gonna go ahead and pop these guys off. You can use a flathead all the way around. Believe that these are gonna be like 7 millimeters, and then this is gonna be connected to a wire harness. So we're just gonna drop this down. Same thing as this one. We'll let it drop down and then we'll disconnect from right there. Pretty much we're gonna have all these clips right there. So it should be one right here. No, one right there. Then a few. We'll pull back this tab a little bit. Same thing. We got these ones right there. So we'll just take off all of those. Alright, now that we got this guy popped off, again, like I said, our wire harness was right here. So we'll just go ahead and wiggle this back. These do have a fastener on them. You can just spread between here. Spread right between there and then separate this from the harness. But I'm just going to go ahead and pull these guys right off. And just let it drop down. Now we're going to have more access to the mount. It's just a lot more easier to get to. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and start recording on taking that off. So before we start off with the top bolts on the block itself, we're gonna go ahead and take off those 3 bolts right there first. We are gonna need to move our heat shield around, so we'll probably bend with our hand so we can get more access to that. And again, I'm going to be accessing this through the wheel well. I'll let you know if I go up on top, but I'm going to have the phone recording right here. So I was able to get all three of those bolts out with basically with a 6-inch, well, about like 9 inches worth of extension, a swivel socket, and then a 15 millimeter. I am using the electric impact gun, so that helps out a lot. But if you don't have that, you are gonna need another extension and do it by hand. The bolts are gonna come out pretty hard, so just because of the Loctite that they have, so it's just gonna make it a little bit more difficult. So kind of happy that I was able to get the impact gun in there to take off those bolts, so that made my life a lot more easier. Now we're gonna go ahead and take off the block bolts, and then I'm gonna figure out, see how I'm gonna be able to do that. Then we'll get right back to the video. All right, so I went ahead and lifted up the block, and on my other video I explained this way how I set up the 2x4s. I believe it's like 16 inches long. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm lifting up at the plate right between the differential and the oil pan, or the rack and pinion. So if you can see right there, there's that little plate right there. I think it's either 4 bolts or 3 bolts that are holding it in place. So I lifted right there, and then I pretty much lifted to where the motor can't go any higher. And that gave me more access to the 4 bolts that are right there. There is one right here, and then wherever this hole is at, right there. So there's one right here, and then that one. I don't know how I'm going to get to the other one, so I'm going to figure that out. But I'm going to get to these 2 first, and then I'll start with the other one. But yeah, this mount's so jacked up. And all those bolts, those are 15 millimeters too, by the way. Just in case I forgot to mention that. Oh, I'm gonna have to take off the starter, because I think that's the only way I'm gonna be able to take off this motor mount, but that's no biggie. So go ahead and disconnect the negative battery cable. Then once you do that, you're gonna take off this 13 millimeter right here. Let's see if I can get that to focus. So yeah, you're gonna take off this 13 millimeter right here, and then we're gonna take off this solenoid wire. That's gonna be an 8 millimeter, and then we're gonna take off the 2 bracket ones. Those are gonna be 13. Those are on the bottom of the starter. Then we have this little bracket right here. We're just gonna go ahead and open this guy right up and move the power cable. So there's our 2 13 millimeter bolts. So we're just going to take off those 2, and then it should slide right out. Alright, so we got this guy out. Hopefully it goes a lot easier in than it coming out, because it was pretty difficult because it kept just opening up and then the bottom kept catching. So I had to lift up a little bit more with the jack, and then I did have to take off the wheel so I can get in between that, because the wheel was getting in the way. Had to take off the starter, so all sorts of fun. So we'll go ahead and take off these two bolts. They're going to be 13, or I think they're 13 or 15. Yeah, so we're going to take off these 15 millimeter bolts, switch everything over, and then we'll go back to the install now. So now we're going to go ahead and do our install, but I'm going to remove this piece right here. And that is a 13 millimeter, by the way. So when you put this in, you're just gonna have to lift up this plate a little bit, push it in forward, and you're probably gonna have to bend this plate, the heat shield, a little bit. So just as a little tip to help you out, and then just bend it back in place once you're done. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the motor, not all the way down, just close enough to where I can have enough wiggle room with the mount itself, so I can freely move where the bolt's inside, so it's not too hard. Alright, so for this bottom right bolt, so be patient with that one. So the way how you're going to do this is to get that one threaded in. First start off with the left side, which is the easiest. So go bottom left, top left, and then top right, and then bottom right. But those are just to screw in the bolts, not all the way in, because you still want to thread in that bottom right bolt. And start tightening with the bottom right bolt, then work your way from the bottom or the top right, top left, and then bottom right. Basically I thread it in by hand most of the time, and then I use the deep socket 15 millimeter and then a regular ratchet, and then I put it right there, and then I just kind of basically had my hand flat like this while keeping this guy afloat, so it didn't drop down every time I'm backing off while trying to tighten the bolt. So I hope that helps you out with that part. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finish tightening the rest. So basically, if you see what I mean, I'm just kind of holding the ratchet with just my fingers and while tightening that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish tightening these, and then I'll get back to doing the install on the starter and all that. Okay, so now that we got our bolts bolted down, we're going to go ahead and lower the motor. I did lower it just to mount up the bolts, but I did have to raise it up just to get to the right rear, the bottom right bolt, just to get a little extra space in there, because it is very tight. So we're going to go ahead and lower the motor, and then put these bolts down, put back on the starter, and put on the heat shield, and then we'll put on the tire well too as well. So I'll go ahead and record that process. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and bend back down our heat shield for our motor mount. We'll try to get it back down as close as possible so we don't have it rubbing against anything. And then we'll go ahead and put on our exhaust shield. Okay, so we have our fender liner in. We put back on our ram. I hope this video helped you out. This is my first time again doing this mount on this side, so again, be patient with me. So I hope this could either help you succeed in this video, or it could help you get some knowledge on how to do it faster. If you know a faster way, comment below, let me know. I could try to make another video on doing one of these. I did do the driver's side, so if you want to check that out, look through my videos and then see how to do the driver's side. That one I got down pretty well, but the passenger was my first time doing it. Hit the thumbs up if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future, and thanks for watching.